Now, I know that there is way more than 10 people in here. Good evening, everyone. Let me ask you guys, are you more? Good evening and welcome to Richard Hunt's Celebration of Life. My name is Vaughn Sims, Hunt Studio Coordinator. I stand here humbled this evening by this tremendous opportunity to share and continue the legacy of Mr. Hunt, all while serving my community and providing a place of resource and good influence for the citizens of Benton Harbor. As I look around the room tonight, there are many people who are familiar with Mr. Hunt, his work, his artistic genius. However, I was unable to meet him in person. Fortunately, I've become more and more knowledgeable through books and videos that allow me to see the value he was to so many people locally and around the world. Today we celebrate the life of Mr. Hunt. And now that the torch is in my hand, I must continue the legacy to inspire our youth to grab hold of their dreams and continue to believe they do come true. It is my role to engage our community on this project, allowing your voices to be heard and considered in the final phase of the studio's development. In a video I previously watched of the grand opening of the studio, I was searching to find resemblance in the style of Mr. Hunt and myself. And to my surprise, there are several things that are related to me, such as the piece that is shown in the gallery today, Standard. As described in the video, Mr. Hunt says the top of the sculpture could be viewed as fabric blowing in the wind. Coincidentally, I'm a fashion designer who found much value in the description, also in the sculpture. And also I share the same birth year as the sculpture. Although many grieve the loss of Mr. Hunt, it is my diligence to keep his legacy a permanent stamp in the city of Benton Harbor, inspiring you as myself. And I quote, "There's not much we can do except to be. And being, become aware." Thank you. At this time, we're going to have words from Mamie Yarbrough, who is a Berrien County Commissioner and neighbor of Mr. Hunt. Mamie?
Good afternoon. This is so beautiful to see this many people crowded in Benton Harbor, Michigan. I want to tell you about this building. So many people have opined what it was, a car dealership, or this or that. And what I was doing, I was thinking, I was on the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education. I was the president, I was the secretary, and I signed something about this building. And so I'm going to have it investigated to see if it's mine. And I asked Tammy Favre if she saw anything on the paperwork that they did that had my name on it. And she said no. And it came to me, I'm in the building, Berrien County, with the Register of Deeds. And I called her and we figured out the address, because I live at 228 Territorial, and we figured out the address of 258. And she said, "Oh my goodness, Your name is on this deed, what is it called? Lien, isn't it? I don't know what it is. It's called, I'll find it in just a second, please be patient. Okay, let me see. And I've been looking at these papers. I will continue. But what we found out when we looked at this, well, she said, come up. And my name was on this paper. And I'm going to give copies and hope that they will be placed somewhere in this building where you will be able to see them. And what it is we did an acceptance, and I was a witness for the receiving of this building. At that time, it was Harriet Stevens, who was the interim superintendent of Benton Harbor area schools, and I, Mamie Yarbrough, was a witness, and Rosalind Hayes, and it's a deed. And what I want to tell you is that when I look at this paper, a cover sheet, it shows that BM had this building. If you know voice music, and they were across the street, I know history, what was there, across the street and all down in this area. This building belonged to BM, and somehow it was deeded, and I don't know how it went to the Benton Harbor area schools, and then it went to the United States Secretary of Education, and it just kept moving. And what happened was, I believe it was President Reagan was doing the job for it. And this building had been boarded up, and they were going to make it ready for students. Everybody wasn't going to college, but make it ready for students, to be able to have a trade when they got out of high school. They also bought took or lost in taxes the Vincent Hotel. That was going to be where the students would live, and they would learn to be bakers. And I remember the bowls. The bowls were, I cannot tell you how big, with mixers in them, where they would learn that trade. And in this building, they would have been doing welding and da-da-da. Listen how it's connected to Richard Hunt. Welding and all that. And when they got ready to take these buildings to the Benton Harbor area schools and investigated them, they were not built for children. Students could not be in this building. It did not meet the specifications for a school. And here was this building done and not being able to be used. And so what happened was it was sold to a William Lacey. It became BIMCO, which they were manufacturing or making some, parts in here. And then eventually, somehow Cornerstone Alliance name is on all these papers. And then there was a foundation made for Richard Howard Hunt. And somehow he ended up, and the last name, let me take the name before, the original plat, this is to somebody named Kenneth Merlot. He sounds like wine. And then it was given or deeded to, and so I don't know about the expenses and all, that's not important. But to the Prazel Arts Center Incorporated on May 24th, 2023. And I just want to say, ask you to be patient with me, and let me just say a few words. Let me see, I did that. And then what I want to let you know is that Richard Hunt was my neighbor at the corner of Territorial and 4th Street, and I live at the corner of Territorial and 5th Street, above Berrien Candy, which is now the ARS Art Gallery. And we knew him from the time he opened this business. My husband, Mayor Charles Yarbrough, and I lived on Monroe Street. But my husband would come down here and go through all the buildings, encouraging the people to keep on building or doing, explaining to them what was there. He knew what was there. And they were telling him what we're doing. This building is 100 years old and on and on. And so it was just wonderful. And then 14 years ago, we moved to that apartment. It took almost a year to fix it. I was watching HGTV, but all the things were done, and it was marvelous because there were candy making machines upstairs, not apartments. There's 6 apartments up there. And so Mickey would walk down the street, and I said, where are you going? He said, I'm just walking. He come back, he said, just sit and talk with Richard Hunt. Because just the way you came in this building, and that's what I talk about, he would throw the garage door open, was not wealthy. He was fixing it up for music. He'd have string quartets here, if that's what it's called, anyways, quartets and music. And when we came today, that's all I could think of is how gorgeous this garage, this room is, and the way it's been set up, and still some idea of the maquette and the different things that are in this building. And so at our commission meetings, each week we talk about things, and I made an announcement. There was an open house going to be held at Richard Hunt's studio, and it's going to be on Saturday, April 6th, and the public is welcome. Our Commissioner, Shokoi Pittsburgh, suggested, could we do a resolution? When we do that, we vote it. We all agree, we sign the papers, and I have that also to show and to hope it'll be on the wall. And I'd like to ask you to please let me read this resolution from Berrien County Board of Commissioners. It's Resolution B 240-4024, honoring Richard Hunt on April 4th, 2024. Whereas Richard Howard Hunt was born in Chicago, Illinois on September 12, 1935, and ultimately became one of the most successful metal sculptors in the world. And whereas he was the inaugural artist in the Economic and Civic Program, Community Renewal through the Arts, and in 1995, Hunt established a satellite studio in the Benton Harbor Arts District. And whereas he gave generously of his time and had an active presence in the community, and when asked why Benton Harbor, he was quoted as saying, "There is every reason to come to Benton Harbor. It's a land of opportunities." And whereas with the opening of his studio, Standard was purchased and subsequently donated to the Krasel Arts Center in St. Joseph, where it remains today. And whereas his work can be seen throughout the United States and abroad, but most notably are the pieces right here in Berrien County. Hybrid Form No. 2 in Niles in 1974. NUCs installed at Silver Beach County Park, 2002. Silver linings at Lakeland Medical Center, St. Joseph, 2008. Rising Crossing Tides at the entrance to Krasel Arts Center, St. Joseph, 2018. And whereas he is represented in more than 100 public museums across the globe and rightfully deserves to be identified as one of the nation's greatest artists. And whereas in the spring of 2023, he gifted his 26,000 square foot satellite studio in Benton Harbor to the community via the Krasel Arts Center, with only a minimal request that it remain rooted as the arts and be an active, vibrant resource to the greater Benton Harbor community. And whereas Richard Howard Hunt passed away peacefully on Saturday, December 16, 2023, now therefore be it resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners honors a friend to our community, Richard Howard Hunt, for being one of the nation's greatest artists, and express their gratitude for his generous nature and his contributions for the betterment of Berrien County. Be it further resolved that in alignment with the state of Illinois and others, the board designates April 24th as Richard Howard Hunt Day and encourages the citizenry to surround themselves in the arts in the honor of him. Respectfully submitted, Berrien County Board of Commissioners, and I'd ask if any of our Board of Commissioners are here as I read your name, that you would stand up. R. McKinley Elliott, Mamie L. Yarbrough, Shokoi Pittsburgh, Rayante Bell, Robert P. Harrison, Michael Majerek, Terry Sue Freeling, John Hinkleman, Julie Warfield,